I have 9:08 on July 22, 2025. I'm calling to order the July 22, 2025 rental program special magistrate proceeding for the city of Daytona Beach. My name is Robert Riggio. I am the special magistrate who will be hearing matters this morning. And I have an agenda in front of me. We have 4 cases, I believe all of which will be by Zoom. The city's inspector who will be, and the city attorney who will be presenting are here with me in the Daytona Beach Commission chambers. And let's get this underway. Just as a matter of information, to make these matters go a little bit more quickly, when your matter is called, I assume you all are online right now. I see four faces. You will be asked to be sworn in, state your name, and if you are not the person who is cited, state how it is that you happen to be here on behalf of that person, whether you, and I'm sure there are many ways that can occur. And then the order of presentation will be the city code inspector will present the case for the city. The city attorney may add some items to that. And then you will be given an opportunity to raise any defenses or anything you think that I should be aware of. And then there may be some back and forth in terms of discussion, and then I will render an order. It's fairly simple. And I know the first one of you who is up will probably have some questions or things along the way. The remainder of you will see how it's done, and you will get the idea of how we do this. It's fairly straightforward. Do we have any announcements?
No announcements.
None. Okay. The third item on the agenda is the approval of the June 24th, 2025 meeting minutes, and I have approved those and provided them to the board. Now we move on to the fourth item, which is the hearing of cases. And at this point, we will need to swear in any city staff who may be giving testimony this morning.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Our first case is number 1, RTL 072538. Fabiola Cristina Diaz Barraza is cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 at 517-515 Butler Boulevard. Ms. Diaz, do you have anything that you...
Yes, I just have a global message for all of the respondents about the city's position. The city's position is that the beneficial gain to the property owner whose advertising conduct that is prohibited by city's code is unlawful and pursuant to Florida statute, chapter 162, section 04, subsection 06, subsection 4, is irreparable and irreversible. The effects of renting property or holding property out as a vacation rental cannot be reversed or repaired. Once properties are advertised, they're never truly unadvertised. You can't just put it back into the bottle. Information posted today can be printed and saved, forwarded, retweeted, and even copied and posted on other sites. Limiting the city to the only solution for advertisement is to require that all postings be removed.
Ms. Diaz, if I can interrupt.
Yes.
And the reason Ms. Diaz is going through this is that the irreparable and irreversible allows an enhancement to the penalty from what is provided in the other section of the statute. So that, and she is placing the city's rationale on the record, if I understand correctly.
That is correct.
At this point, because at some point when each case comes up, she will want to state this, and she will probably ask you at that time whether you waive her repeating it again or whether you have heard it. So you do need to pay close attention to it. So if there's something you disagree with, you can either ask her to repeat it, or you can object to it or raise whatever concerns you may have. So with that said, Ms. Diaz, if you wish to continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. The information has long-range effects in luring in patrons under contract to participate in unlawful stays in our city. The patrons risk poor health, poor safety, and welfare due to unregulated or self-regulated vacation accommodations that patrons enter into at their own risk. Well, one day of advertisement could potentially book a property for the whole year. These promised stays are potentially to the detriment of the patrons and definitely to the detriment of the licensed hotels, motels, and lawful vacation rentals that have gone through proper zoning regulations, proper inspections, proper licensing, proper insurance, and proper taxation required by law. Properties who have staff on site 24/7 to address any emergency concerns patrons or the community may have. Thus, weighing them out against the unregulated short-term rentals who do not have to go through these regulatory safeguards is unfair and harmful to the regulated businesses and the patrons and the community. The monetary effects of these unlawful rentals is tax avoidance, inadequate insurance coverage, and unfair business competition against lawful accommodations businesses and lawful vacation rentals. The transient nature of the rentals limits the means of enforcement typically to identifying the advertisement, because by the time code enforcement arrives to the property, the transient patrons are typically gone from the property or claiming a misleading relationship that is often contradicted by advertised visitor comments. The community effect is that the transient business use within unauthorized rental neighborhoods affects residential neighborhoods, affects density, parking, noise, and safety. They affect the peaceful enjoyment expected in residential neighborhoods. It diverges from traditional and reliable residential norms. There is a strong demand from the community to our commission, which has led to a request for a strong deterrent to those that are raking in profits, avoiding local taxes, avoiding zoning requirements and regulatory safeguards, and wreaking havoc on residential communities. We have all seen the rentals go for the amount of several $1,000s a week, and we realize that the substantial fines is the only deterrent available. Because by the time we arrive and say stop, the beneficial gains were already realized. State law adopted by city defines vacation rentals to include advertising for transient guests. Therefore, the city requests a finding that these violations are irreparable and irreversible in nature. And also, given the gravity of the violation, a fine of up to $15,000 is warranted pursuant to Florida statute 162.09, subsection 2D. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think I had called the first case, number 1. Mr. Yates, if you can provide me with the details.
I think they need to be sworn in still.
Oh, have you been sworn yet?
No, the respondent.
Okay. Is there someone here on behalf of Fabiola Cristina Diaz Barraza?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
Please state your name.
Fabiola Cristina Diaz Barraza.
Okay. And raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Yates?
The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned RP. Other accommodations known as short-term rentals are not permitted in the zoning district. The violation was first observed June 25th, 2025. They were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of June 26, 2025. The daily posted rate was $290 and it displayed 3 reviews. The check-in, check-out time were 3 p.m. and 10 a.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, the city is requesting a one-time fine of $1,000.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Yates?
No, sir.
Okay. Generally at this time, Ms. Diaz, do you have anything you wish to add?
No,
Yes.
Your Honor, I have.
Yes, that I'm new to the city of
I'm talking with, excuse me, the other Ms.
Apologies, I
Diaz
have the
here.
same last name as you do. No, Your Honor, I have nothing else.
Do you wish to incorporate your statement that you made before?
Yes, I wish to incorporate my statement onto the record for this case for Fabiola Cristina Diaz.
Okay. Ms. Barraza, the city has asked to incorporate Ms. Diaz has asked to incorporate her previous statement into the record. Do you have any objections to that, or do you wish to raise any issues regarding any of the matters that she stated there regarding this being irreparable and irreversible?
No, I just wish to say that I'm new to the city of Daytona. I'm happy to be part of the city of Daytona now with this property. And I was not really aware that it was not zoned for this situation. No, I was not really I didn't have this information and they gave me the wrong information. So as soon as I knew that I was doing something, that it was not approved, I spoke to the inspector, to Mr. Yates, and he told me exactly what to do. I did it right away because I want to do, everything accordingly to the law. And I'm hoping that maybe the fee that I need to pay, that I understand that I did something that was not approved. But I'm wishing that if it's on your, if you can do it, that maybe I can get a discount because, it's, I was not really doing this intentionally. If I would have known, I would never have done it this way.
Okay.
I have a question, Your Honor. If I may.
Ms. Diaz?
You mentioned you were given wrong information. Was it from the city? Who gave you wrong information?
No. When I bought the property, people that gave me advice, they told me, oh, you can, we didn't really speak about zoning, but they didn't really tell me that it was for Airbnb, but it was like implicit.
Implied, yes. Okay.
Implied, exactly. Or maybe I understood the wrong way, but I was not really aware.
Okay. All right. Does the city have anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Barraza, I hear you and you would like some relief, but unfortunately, when we began this, it was, the initial fines were levied for a person in your position was the maximum amount of $15,000. And I have tried to back off. I understand the situation, but there comes this point where we're trying to balance between someone who is engaged in an activity that is not allowed in the city, and even if it was long-term, it would require some type of business tax license, the city, and it becomes a question of trying to enter into what amounts to a business without having thoroughly researched what it takes to set up that business. And so I have backed down the fine to $1,000, but I think that still because an economic gain is being realized that is not allowed by city code, that it would take exceptional circumstances for me to go anything further. So I am going to stick with the $1,000 that Mr. Yates had said. He is sort of tracking what I have done in the past, probably now for about 4 years, 3-4 years. So do you have anything further?
No, I was just hoping, because of the current situation, the economic situation, but I understand also your point of view, and I understand.
Okay. And I would also like to add that you have agreed to incorporate Ms. Diaz's presentation regarding irreparable and irreversible into the record of this proceeding. Okay? So therefore, I hereby find the respondent, Fabiola Cristina Diaz Barraza, in case number RTL 072538 as the owner of the property at 517-515 Butler Boulevard to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1.a, and Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibit short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals. Such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage to the surrounding neighborhood occurs time that the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes. Property has subsequently been brought into compliance on June 26th,
Yes.
2025, and hereby order respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $1,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again. And if for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Thank you.
Thank
All right. Moving on. Case number 2, RTL 072539. Roberto DeMaio, Dean Thomas Hussey, and Kevin Laylor are cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 at 506 University Boulevard, number 2. Someone
Present,
here?
Dean Hussey. Yep, Dean Hussey, present.
Okay.
All right.
You-
Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Yates.
The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned MFR 12. Other accommodations known as short-term rentals are not permitted in this zoning district. The violation was first observed June 26, 2025, and they were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of July 11, 2025. The daily posted rate was $76. The check-in, check-out time were shown as 12 p.m. and 11 a.m. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, the city is requesting a one-time fine of $1,000. You'll notice there's a little more of a lag in the stopping of advertisement. Unfortunately, the person who actually controlled the advertisement was indisposed for a time period due to being incarcerated. However, they were very responsive the minute they could get it down.
Okay, I also noticed the July 4th holiday falls in that period too.
It did. But there was no one who was noted to stay there during any of this time period.
Okay. All right. Ms. Diaz, do you have anything to add?
Yes, Your Honor. The city would like to incorporate its position about the irreparable and irreversible in nature onto the record for case number 2.
Mr. Hussey? Is that
Yes.
I'm pronouncing it right?
Yes.
Did you hear Ms. Diaz's previous presentation at the beginning of this proceeding?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any objection to that being incorporated into the proceeding?
No, I do not.
If you have any objections of your own to what she said, you can certainly also make them if you disagree with the city's position or what have you. But it's just something that goes in the record.
I understand. No objections.
Okay,
It prevents me from repeating it again.
yes. All right, Mr. Hussey, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, we should have done a better job of figuring out the zoning. That's, I apologize. That's, yeah, nothing else to add. We took it down. And Inspector Yates helped me out as soon as I called him. And yeah, but nothing to add. I apologize. We need to do a better job of that in the future. Yeah, figuring out zoning and all of that.
Okay. I mentioned it for all of the people who are listening. The city does have allows for long-term rentals, but those have to also require obtaining a business tax license. And that's a process. And, I advise anybody who's interested in trying to set up some type of business in the city to talk with the people downstairs or in planning to find out the details of what's necessary. Because I think the city is business friendly and wants to encourage businesses. It's just that there are some hoops and hurdles you have to go through to get something started. All right. And Mr. Hussey, I'm disposed to enter a order that would include a $1,000 fine, as you heard in the previous matter. And so if you have nothing further to say, then I will get with the business of presenting the order. Do you have anything further?
No, that's all. Thank you for your time. Just one quick question. Will payment instruction be sent via email or via letter? So how I can send the payment to you guys?
Yeah, it'll be sent to the address on the property appraisers, and see that in about a week and a half. If for some reason you don't, or you have questions, just contact me.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Therefore, I hereby find the respondents, Robert DeMeo, Dean Thomas Hussey, and Kevin Laylor in case number RTL 072539 as the owners of the property at 506 University Boulevard, number 2, to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1.a and Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibit short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals, and such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage to the surrounding neighborhood occurs at the time the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes, and the property is subsequently brought into compliance on July 11, 2025, and hereby order that the respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $1,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 per each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
You too. Okay, next case is number 3, RTL 072541. Devendra Kumar, cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 at 606 Braddock Avenue. Is someone here on behalf of Devendra Kumar? Okay.
Your Honor.
Good morning.
Please state your name.
My name is Devendra Kumar.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Yates?
Just 1 second. I want to verify if that was the witness for this case or not, who just walked out. Okay, property. Okay. Then she's not going to be here. That's fine. All right. The case before you is a zoning violation. This case was field generated. The property is zoned SFR 5. Other accommodations known as short-term rentals are not permitted in this zoning district. The violation was first observed July 1st, 2025, and they were notified the same day. The property stopped actively advertising as of July 2nd, 2025. The daily posted rate on the advertisement was $425, and it displayed 3 reviews. The check-in time was shown as 3 p.m. The checkout is 10 a.m. This is the 3rd case involving this owner at this address. The first being RTL 012135 on January 29th, 2021 as Fix B LLC's registered agent. And the next being RTL 092488 on September 30th, 2024, under his current name. These actions are irreparable and irreversible in nature, and due to the actions of the property owner, the city is requesting a one-time fine of $15,000.
Okay. Ms. Diaz, do you have anything that you would like to say at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. The city would like to incorporate its previous position on irreparable and irreversible in nature, and then the request under Chapter 162 to be incorporated into the record at this time.
Mr. Kumar, did you hear Ms. Diaz's presentation at the beginning of this hearing where she presented the city's position on irreparable and irreversible? These
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Excuse me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any objections to this being incorporated into the record of this proceeding or statements?
I had needed some clarifications on, the zoning and also any information that she may have, because during my research over a period of time, it became unclear to me about the zoning and the overlay zoning. And I have actually two properties in Daytona. One is in the right zone, and it is also next to a hotel. And this one is also next to a hotel, so it wasn't clear when I go to the website too, on the Daytona Beach website, to figure out what exactly is allowed and not allowed. While I'm, this time I was able to do some more research around trying to figure out how do I clarify certain things, and this is where I'm coming from about the zoning question.
Would you like me to repeat the speech or just to answer some of your questions?
I can show you the website when
But do you want me to repeat the speech? Before we proceed, I need to know.
Yes, sure, please.
Do you want me to
please go
repeat
ahead.
it or do you want me to answer questions?
Both will be really
Both?
helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if at any point you want me to stop because you want to ask a question, please feel free to
Sure,
interrupt.
thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
So the city's position is that the beneficial gain to the property owner whose advertising conduct is prohibited by city's code and by pursuant to Florida statute 162.06 subsection 4 is irreparable and irreversible. The effects of renting property or holding property out as a vacation rental cannot be reversed or repaired. Once properties are advertised, they are truly never unadvertised. You can't put that back into the bottle because that information posted today can be printed, saved, forwarded, retweeted, copied and pasted, and it limits the city to the only solution for the advertisement is to require that all postings be removed. This information has long-ranging effects in luring in patrons under contract to participate in unlawful stays in our city. The patrons risk poor health, poor safety, and welfare due to unregulated or self-regulated vacation accommodations that patrons enter into at their own risk. One single day of advertisement can potentially book a property for the whole year. These promised stays are potentially to the detriment of the patrons and definitely to the detriment of the licensed hotels, motels, and lawful vacation rentals that have gone through proper zoning regulations, proper inspections, proper licensing, proper insurance, proper taxation required by law. Properties who have staff on site 24/7 to address all emergency concerns patrons or the community may have. Thus weighing them against an unregulated short-term rentals who do not have to go through these regulatory safeguards is unfair and harmful to the regulated businesses, the patrons, and the community. And I'm going to take a 1 minute to pause right here because that part is really one of the most important arguments that the city is making. We have this policy because the commission had a lot of community outreach because different events, we have a lot of events. We have Bike Week, we have Truck Week, and I think it was Truck Week specifically, but I don't recall. But one specific event where people were taking over neighborhoods. They, at 2 a.m. were blasting stuff outside from their trucks. And these are residential neighborhoods where people have jobs, they have to go to work, they have kids, they have school. And these vacation rentals don't have someone on site 24/7. Hotels and other short-term rentals do. And that's the biggest thing, right? An Airbnb guest typically won't be at that house at 2 a.m. telling them to calm down because there's community unrest. That normally waits until the morning at 8 a.m. You know, you go to the Hilton, right? They have 24-hour staff. If law enforcement shows up at 2 a.m., the Hilton has staff that will cooperate with us. Airbnb guests do not. Community outreach on this was really big. In addition to the taxes, the zoning, right? For us, all of that matters, but specifically the fact that there's not staff there on site 24/7 to cooperate with the community dissent and with law enforcement, including the safety concerns of proper inspections, security, and so forth. And then we move on to the fact that the monetary effects of these unlawful rentals is tax avoidance, inadequate insurance, and unfair business competitions against the lawful accommodations who do have to go through all of these things. To treat one differently than the other would not be fair. The transient nature of the rentals limits the means of enforcement, typically to identifying the advertisement, because by the time code enforcement arrives, the property and the transient patrons are typically gone or claiming a misleading relationship that are often contradicted by advertised visitor comments. The community effect is that these transient businesses used within unauthorized residential neighborhoods affect density, parking, noise, and safety. They affect the peaceful enjoyment expected in residential neighborhoods. It diverges from traditional and reliable norms, and that's why we're here. There was a demand, like I said previously, to our commission, which has led to the request for this strong deterrent to those that are raking in profits, avoiding local taxes, avoiding zoning requirements and regulatory controls, and wreaking havoc on residential communities. We have seen rentals go for several $1,000s a week. So the only solution is that these substantial fines that we are imposing is the only deterrent tool available. State law adopted by the city defines vacation rentals to include advertising for transient guests. Therefore, the city requests the finding that this violation in this case is irreparable and irreversible in nature. And given the gravity of this repeat offense, I think this is the third violation, that a fine of $15,000 is warranted pursuant to Florida Statute 162.092D. And sir, if you would like, I can also read you what that statute says.
And
Just so we're clear, Mr. Kumar, that is the city's position. It's not necessarily my position or your position. If you object to it, any objections you have are certainly, since it's now part of the record, I don't think we have to ask, in the past, to speed things along, the respondents would agree to waiving Ms. Diaz from reading all of that again, but now it's part of the record. So it is what it is, and it's in the record. If you have objections, please state them. I'm all ears. I like to listen to what everybody has to say.
And just before we do move forward, as far as, we just want to make it clear that Mr. Kumar is very aware of the zoning, since he's already been in front of you for this address before. So he's very aware that he cannot short-term rent it.
Okay, just so I'm clear on this, is this the third violation at the same address?
Yes, sir.
Going back to 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your Honor, may I explain the situation?
Please do. Please explain your side.
So the first violation, everything was completely stopped. I went through a divorce. It put me in a very different hardship. And second violation, I completely agree. That was completely sealed off. After that, last year, I tried to figure out what is going on with my house. I was going through refinancing. After that, I had completely stopped. And I even, in fact, I had put sensors around my property to figure out who's accessing my house, why are they accessing my house. And Corey was taking care of my home at that point. I even had John, go to the house, check on what is going on, and somebody was staying during Thanksgiving time. So I visited. During that time, also going through refinancing. In January of this year, February of this year is when I put the house on sale. I went to the house to double check everything. And I believe there were few very old bookings that were still in the property. I use multiple apps that are, synchronizing with each other with the calendar. It was, I had forgotten about all these things. I thought the property is on, off the market. And I even had Corey just taking care of any visitation. I can share you the screenshots of my conversations with her for people who want to buy the home. They have the viewings and showings. So she was making sure the showings are going on. And on July 1st, I believe, I had put Corey's son just to make sure there is no other activity going on. My houses are taking, backyard is being well maintained for possible buyers. I can show you pictures how badly it was left back in November when I discovered how the house was being mismaintained and all that. I can share you the screenshot. I have all the documents if that helps to justify my situation. And then I looked up the law. It was very confusing. I have actually two homes. One is actually in the right zone, and it is next to a hotel. This one is also next to a hotel. I didn't think much, but this time I also did the research. Of course, I do want to specify. I understand now that renting my home for short-term stay is a violation of city zoning laws. I have another property that is Stevens Zone. Upon checking the website, checking the website for rentals, I misunderstood the impact of rental property program repeal and did not realize the zoning still prohibited short-term rentals in my place. I want the court to know I have checked all related websites and stopped all short-term rental activity and will not do it again. I'm committed to fully complying with Daytona Beach zoning laws now that I've researched done some more research. And I'm under significant financial hardships, specifically refinancing and personal life situations and challenges. I relied on short-term rentals to help me pay my mortgage and necessary repairs. And I truly don't intend to violate any law. I respectfully ask the court to consider hardship in assessing any penalties and give me reasonable opportunity to resolve this matter in full compliance.
So, if I may, Your Honor, I just have a couple follow-ups. So,
Ms. Diaz?
the city is sympathetic to your financial hardships. However, I'm not aware of the zoning of your property. Maybe Kevin can speak to that, but there are other options, right? If the issue was financial hardship, you could have done a long-term rental, gotten a business tax receipt. There's that option. Like you mentioned, the house could have been sold. To your point about not knowing what activity is going on because it's a vacant lot, I don't know if you're aware, but the police department has different programs that help owners of vacant lots. One specifically is the trespass initiative, right? You put your signs along your property at every 500 feet. They can tell you more specifics, and that would allow the police department to, if there's anyone on that property, to arrest and trespass them because no one should be at that property. You gave the police authorization. So we could help you police that area to make sure that no one's interfered with your property. That's one option. Another option is to have, you could put up cameras. There are many different options, but to say that the short-term rental was the only option to solve this, in addition, it's just not a fair statement. And to say that you didn't know what was going on is also not a fair statement because you are under oath and we have testimony that directly contradicts that. And now I will pass it on to Kevin here.
Yeah, the city would just ask for,
Yates.
given the fact that he did say that he was short-term renting during the time period, that he has a history of short-term renting, the city asked for a judgment and a fine of $15,000. I'd only make one correction. I did make a mistake. This case was not field generated. This case was a complaint that was generated from one of his tenants who claimed that he was short-term renting and it was affecting her ability to long-term rent. And that's all.
All right, Mr. Kumar, do you have anything further?
Just to point out, when I go to the website, it does give me some hold on rental programs in Daytona Beach. It is an amendment by Abraham's law, and it doesn't provide any other details on what those laws are. So I'm just trying to clarify some things at the same time. Like I stated, I have another property which lists almost similarly with different zones, except zone 5 versus zone 7. And it is also next to a hotel. And I completely, Your Honor, I would go with your judgment and after hearing my situation and case, where I did try to, do whatever best I could, and I did shut down everything. And I cleared up all the calendars, everything. I went to every app and made sure to Corey that there is no other things happening behind my back that I'm not aware of. Especially with Jesse stating something that I'm not even receiving any rent from him. I don't know what he blurted out, but I have written the text. He starts with, "No, I'm not renting it out," and then a fire of questions. He gets very startled and says something which is very odd from my perspective as well. But moving forward, I will take all the help and guidance from the city regarding how I can monitor the place, how I can keep it up to date. And I have proof that it was just the backyard and every corner of the home was getting blasted with junk.
Your Honor, the city is more than happy to explain to him the law, but this is the third time we've been here. It's assumed that by now he would have asked before a third violation for clarity. But we could, I could sit here all day and explain it to him. I could meet with him after. But the relevant factor is that this is the third time he was put on notice. He admitted to it. We have testimony. And we feel that it's so irreversible and irreparable in nature that the fine of $15,000 is warranted.
Okay. All right. Mr. Kumar? Did you have anything?
Thank you. I don't have any objections to that.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to have to agree with the city. $15,000 is a fairly significant fine. And this is now the third time that the city, we've been here, this property's been before the city and is being fined again. One would think that after the first time, I understand your situation, but that should have triggered back in 2021 a need to go down and find a solution. We are now 4 years later, and we're on our third violation, and you may be able to argue this at some point, let's say as a lien review or something of that nature, but from the standpoint of assessing a fine, I feel that the $15,000 is appropriate under these circumstances. So therefore, I hereby find the respondent, Devendra Kumar, in case number RTL 07-2541, as the owner of the property at 606 Braddock Avenue to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1.a, and Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibits short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals, and that such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage surrounding the neighborhood occurs at the time the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes. The property has subsequently been brought into compliance on July 2nd, 2025, and hereby order that respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $15,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for a hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. And that's how my decision in this matter. And I would point out, since I've probably read the decision back in 2021, there is a provision, because I used the same order back then, that said you will not violate the Land Development Code again. I don't know how much better I can try and say that. And there may be some solution, but that has to be worked out with the city staff and not in this proceeding. Thank you. We are now moving on to case number 4. RTL 062537. Paul A. Merck is cited for failure to correct violations of Land Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.1.a, Article 5, Section 5.2.a.2 at 346 Plaza Boulevard. Okay, the action to be taken today, this was continued from the June 24th, 2025 meeting for consideration of the imposition of a fine for irreparable and irreversible violations.
All right. Since the last hearing, the owner was able to get control of the ad and remove it and stop all short-term rental. And given that the facts of the case, the city is in this case looking for a fine of $1,000 with a compliance date of June 24th, 2025.
Okay.
Is it my turn? Paul Merck? I'm sorry, I cut out.
Just so that we have the record, you've probably heard this proceeding. We'll try
He needs
to.
to be sworn in.
I need to swear him in.
Excuse me?
He needs to be sworn
He
in.
needs to be sworn in.
Please have him sworn in then.
Please state your name.
Paul Merck?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Diaz, do you wish to ask
Yes.
anything regarding your presentation on irreparable and irreversible?
Yes, Your Honor. The city wishes to incorporate into the record our position about this harm being irreparable and irreversible in nature, and that we ask for a fine under Chapter 162.
Mr. Merck,
Yes.
Ms. Diaz is asking if you heard at the beginning of this proceeding, she made a presentation regarding the fines being irreparable and irreversible.
No, I heard it the last time. Yeah. What happened was my tenant did this. And then when we found out about it, it's been taken care of and it's been, it's over. So,
We just would like to, she would like to incorporate that into the record of the proceeding. Otherwise, she will probably stand up there and repeat it again.
no, I've heard it. Thank you very
Okay.
much. No problem.
Okay.
Okay, then it is incorporated into the proceeding, and now we can move forward.
We are talking about 346 Plaza right now, right?
Yes,
Okay, I'm-
346 Plaza Boulevard.
Yep, thank you. It's just because I got cut out of the meeting and I just didn't, I was trying to get it back on the Wi-Fi, the Zoom, I'm going through everything. Anyway, sorry.
The wonders of electronics.
There
I
we go, I'm
understand.
back.
But you're back. So Mr. Yates has stated that the city is looking for a $1,000 fine and a compliance date of June 24th, 2025.
Well, I
And-
think I came into compliance on that day when we found out about it. I called and was taking care of it. And I believe he's got some affidavits for you guys. I was wondering if I could have maybe a little bit of a help on the fine, maybe bring me down to the 750 because I had no apparent knowledge of this happening. So, I mean, I get it. Fines are fines. Everyone's getting them, even people that are crying in court. I get it. But I really had no knowledge. So,
Given the nature and the length of the ad being up from June 5th all the way to June 24th, 2025, the city will have to insist on at least $1,000 fine.
Okay. The city's insisting. Most of the people that you've probably heard if you were listening in on those proceedings, it was within a few days or, week maybe, if there's a holiday
Yeah,
or weekends
didn't-
involved.
my office my office was not there. So it just went on blank ears. That's all. As soon as we found out, we took care of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, typically too, in the past, whenever, let's say, like a property owner has a long-term tenant in there that's, lawful through the city, if the tax repeat, everything's good with that, and the tenant subleases it through a short-term rental, we still fine the owner of the property, and then the
Why
owner of
not?
the property can make it their own discretion whether they want to take some fine action against the tenant. That's not something for us to
I get
decide.
it. You come after the easy
But-
target. It's the way it is.
Well,
I get
no,
it.
we come over the lawful target of the owner of
I
the
understand.
property. Yeah.
Easy target, yes.
You happen to be the only target by statute because it's the owner of
Yeah.
the property that
I
the
get
city
it.
has jurisdiction over.
I have many problems. I get it. Okay, let's move forward. Thank you.
Okay, well, then it'll be $1,000. And
How do I
there,
pay?
okay,
How do I pay?
you will, Mr. Yates, or,
We'll send you a letter with how to pay, the invoice, and the instructions on how to pay
Where will you
online.
be sending that? Where will you be sending that letter to?
I will be sending it to the address that's on property appraisers.
Are you? What are you talking about? You're gonna send it to 346 Plaza?
If that's what's on the Volusia property appraisers, whatever address is listed on the
No,
Volusia property
are you saying it's where?
appraisers.
Mr. Merck, let me suggest that you get with Ms. Rankin. She can send one to the, I don't know if you're receiving mail at that address. She
Well,
can
no, that's not-
probably
that's
send
that's
you
an
a bill
address of
at whatever address you would like,
That's
so
an
that you
address
receive it.
of a tenant. I have a.
It's very
company,
simple.
that's why I
So
want to make this taken care of.
whatever address you have on the record, it's the one that you wrote down that you want to be contacted on for your
Okay.
property appraisers. That's the ones it's being sent to. So if you wrote down 346, it will be that. If you wrote down your home
We don't charge
address,
for
it
the
will
little
be
ones,
that.
so it'll just be 40 even.
Okay.
40 even.
And then how long do you have to pay?
30 days.
Okay, my office will be back by then. All right. If there's any problems, I'll have my office contact, and we'll take care of it.
You can send a couple of things.
Very good. Therefore, and I hereby find the respondent, Paul A. Merck, in case number RTL 062537, as the owner of the property at 346 Plaza Boulevard, to have been in noncompliance of Article 4, Section 4.1.a and Article 5, Section 5.2.8.2 of the Land Development Code, which prohibits short-term rentals in zoning districts not zoned for short-term rentals. Such violations are irreparable and irreversible because the improper benefit obtained by the owner and the damage surrounding neighborhood occurs at the time the violation occurs and cannot be undone as provided for by Section 162.091D Florida statutes, and the property has subsequently been brought into compliance on June 24th, 2025. Hereby award the respondent shall pay a fine in the amount of $1,000 and not violate that section of the Land Development Code again, and that for any future repeat violation, the respondent may be placed on a subsequent agenda for hearing before the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $15,000 for each occurrence as per Chapter 162 Florida statutes. Okay. Is there any other business? Any miscellaneous business?
No miscellaneous business.
Okay, therefore it being 10:02, I hereby call this session to be adjourned.
All right. So, do you guys want to do a tour of the house? $10 a head to roll through the house. You guys want to do it? Not the baby, of course, even though he's full grown. Yeah. You guys all want to do it? You have your deal?